voice on this one. 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's be real about the last. Hold on. Is this recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's recording. It's recording.
There go the bloopers we needed. That's it right there. That's it.
Hey.
That would have hurt 30 minutes in. Like, welcome to the Let's Be Real podcast, where we are regarded to as the Starting Five. We are powered by the Binge Podcast Network, and we are sponsored by Overtime Heroics Memphis. Let's be real about the last dance.
Yes, sir.
The salsa or the merengue?
What?
Huh?
The Macarena.
The Macarena.
Duh.
Wow.
Salty or not?
Go down talking this today. We're gonna do a little quick updates. Fly through a couple of different topics. Go to the NFL proposed Rooney Rule update and Last Dance review, which is the title of the episode, followed by a famous troll and all. First up, quick updates. We'll get to it next week, but the Tigers landed another transfer, DeAndre Williams from Evansville, and I think the transfer ruling is this Wednesday, May the 20th. So next week will be perfect time to talk about all day with Tiger recruiting. Next up, I need Skyler to, he got a message for the black NFL players that I am about to list out right now. They got arrested within like a 48-hour span. Cornerback, Quentin Dunbar.
Name them all.
And DeAndre Baker.
There's some more people on this.
For the Seahawks and Giants.
There you go. Keep naming
For robbery. Both of them together.
Last plan a robbery.
Wide receiver for the Redskins. Assault. And it came out today. It was during a poker game. Defense tackle Oliver Fields. DWI.
The main reason his stock was low when he got drafted anyway. Bad attitude. Golly.
What you got to say?
I really need us black men to do better. Yeah, I really want y'all to hear me. Black men do better. As in a time in which they should be focused on like getting their bodies ready for the NFL season. Hopefully we have an NFL season. Making sure that they're around the kids, teaching them, whatever the case they need to be doing. It really frustrated me to see stuff like this in the news in a time in which, like I said, like a time in which like they should be around the families and get ready for sports. So I really, like I said, just really wish that black men would just do better, like take responsibility for the actions that you place upon yourselves. Like just do better. Like there's at the end of the day, there's people that look up to you regardless if you think that's true or not. There's always somebody looking up to you. So I would just really hope that black men decide to do better, and y'all can have at it if you need to.
I ain't got nothing to say after that.
Just do better, bro. Like, I don't even know how it's.
Hey,
just do better. Like
you already know when these guys leave they hoods, they bring their friends with them.
Yeah, they like 2025. Like, bro, just do better, bro. Like, pandemic going on. Why you not robbing people?
More than anything, like. It's quarantine. Like, sit your butt down somewhere.
Exactly.
Like, you, like, work out or something.
We bored, though. We bored, bro. Let's run to somebody's house.
Being bored is not a valid reason to go rob people. It's not a valid reason to go rob people. Rob yourself if you're that bored. Go rob yourself.
What you talking about, man? How would I break in my own crib, man? I don't even know.
Bro, hide something from yourself. But don't go out and rob it. Golly, hide your kids, hide your wife, bro. Then go find them or something.
But no, that's simply just having friends from your childhood or from your hood period and keeping around and keeping the same mentality. So boom, here you are hanging out with your friends and now you're robbing somebody's house, even though you're a millionaire.
And it goes back to like what we talked about last week, just like how short that how small that percentage is of players that once you get to the league, like how like if you do well, like you got to also get rid of some of those people that's in your past. Like I mean, Michael Vick, he talks about that. Like I understand, like you kind of feel indebted to pay them back, but I mean to make sure you're doing well for yourself, you're doing well for your family, because I'm not sure if they have kids or not, but I mean like just want to do better for yourself, bro. Like yeah, like it's just frustrating, bro.
Nah, bro, man. Look, don't. Hey, when you make it,
get DUIs. Like, drive.
When you make it, bro, don't forget about us, bro. You know, we got to eat too, bro. Come on, man. You know, put the hood back on, bro. Come on, man. You ain't the same. You ain't been the same, bro. And that's all how it began.
Yep.
Right there and there. Now you guilt tripping, like, man. They said I done changed, man.
You get somebody, you start acting funny.
I guess.
Exactly.
I've been acting funny when I was broke. I was acting, but if I give some money, I'll be acting even more funny.
No, we think like that, but those guys probably had those guys in their corner for that whole time that they was hot. You know, them supporting them, being at games and stuff like that. You know, pushing him, quote unquote. You know, because they see he can do something. And he just kept them folks around. And them folks don't care if you millionaires or not. We still about it. So, in honor of Master P, about it. You know, but.
Man, there's our first Master P reference on this one, really.
Go off his point. I watched the Penny Hardaway interview on All the Smoke podcast, and I found something about him that I didn't know, that he was hanging around the wrong crowd too. And got robbed his freshman year, got shot in the foot. And that was his wake-up call.
So hopefully this is their wake-up call. Hopefully, like, going to jail. I don't want to put it that way, but, like, I mean, you said Penny Hardaway, shot for those wake-up call. Maybe going to jail is, like, their wake-up call. Hopefully they just kind of be able to bounce back from this and sign with another team, I guess, and make some money.
Mm-hmm. It's a common trend. That's all I can say. It's a common trend. So. Yes, we can move to the next topic, fellas.
Well, to keep with the NFL, the NFL is proposing that teams will receive a boost to a third-round draft pick if they hire a minority as a head coach or GM to keep it with black. Who want to go first?
That ain't going to change no organization mind if they truly don't. I mean, it's a third-round draft pick, bro. And if they don't want to hire a minority, they're not going to do it. Third round.
I disagree with that because in the NFL, third round pick is pretty valuable. That's a starter for most NFL teams. When I saw this on Twitter, I was kind of pissed off about it because I can easily see a team saying, "Oh, okay, if we hire a black candidate, you know, we have an opportunity to get a pretty solid, you know, pick. Even if it's like a late third round pick, it's still a third round pick."
The incentive pissed you off. The incentive, the fact that you have to have an
incentive.
Well,
no, not even that. Like I can see this being a situation similar to like the Arizona Cardinals, where they hire Steve Wilkes for 1 year, and then he gone after 1 year, and then you bring in Cliff Kingsbury, a white coach who had no pedigree in college aside from having Patrick Mahomes, and still didn't play well in college as far as like the overall record, and they will get what they want at the expense of a black coach getting like 1 year to fully coach a team. Like a lot of black coaches don't even get the opportunity like that in the NFL. People looking at the Chargers coach, Anthony Lynn, looking at him crazy, you know, especially now, new stadium, got to sell tickets. If he don't do good next year, y'all know that he gonna be gone. You got the guy from the Kansas City Chiefs who had the best offense in the NFL, Eric Bieniemy. He still didn't get a job. You know what I'm saying? So the black coaches, they already don't get treated well off top. So now you're going to reward an NFL franchise to hire a black coach just to get the pick. And then once you get the pick, they're gonna be done with them, ship them out, you know, once they get what they wanted. It's kind of like you getting a black coach booty call or something. It's terrible. Like I don't vibe with it.
Hey, did Miss Staples teach you different analogies or something?
Let's stay on topic, y'all. Let's stay on topic because I mean this ain't got nothing to do with sports.
I'm just saying,
Let's stay on topic.
a black coach booty call.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I mean, so what you're saying is you feel like you're gonna see a common trend.
Yeah.
Every year with this being, hey, we can get a boost.
They don't
like
hire
the
black coaches anyway. They don't hire black coaches anyway.
You actually think that this rule is gonna work in a team looking at a black coach and being like, I should bring him in because we can maybe get a 3rd round pick. Like
somebody going to experiment with it. Somebody going to experiment.
Somebody going to test it out for real.
Mm-hmm. Somebody who need picks or need that extra man gonna test it out.
My thing is like if we how many black coaches are in the NFL? Like 4? Maybe
head coaches.
Handful.
I think it's like 5 minority.
Literally a handful.
Black, I think.
It's like
the NFL has been around for so long. It's like the percentage of white coaches always way outnumbered the white coaches anyway. So you adding on the fact that you about to get a 3rd round pick is what? It's like y'all acknowledging a problem and y'all trying to help with it, but y'all making it worse by acknowledging it.
Exactly.
But that's their way. That's their way of improving things. Like, hey, we got to get minorities in here, man. Hey. That's their way in improving it. Honestly, that's
no. Their way of proving it is to actually get black owners.
Exactly.
What? You think I'm gonna give my stakes up for? No.
But they're not gonna give up their state. They're not gonna give up 2, 3, 4 years if some teams are rebuilding. Like let's say my Panthers. If my Panthers would have signed a black coach, it would have been a good look, for us for sure. But I don't think that would have had anything to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like if this rule would have been while we were looking for a coach, whatever. I don't think that would have had anything to do with it because it's just there. Like an extra 3rd round, of course, it's a start in the NFL, but you can starters in free agency.
So let me ask you this too: Why did the Cardinals fire Steve Wilkes?
Because I don't know, they wanted to take their program.
They didn't have the patience. They didn't have the patience.
And they didn't have the patience for it.
Patience from as far as like what?
The team wasn't doing well, and
this was terrible.
The team
so what's going to hire him then?
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
My thing is when I see somebody hire a new coach, that means that they're in either A, or rebuilding mode, or B, that coach is going to take them to the next level. In the Cardinal situation, I think they're in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that Steve Wilkes.
They weren't in the middle of that season. They were
terrible.
They were terrible.
I'm saying where we are now. Oh, where they are now. I'm sorry. Where the Cardinals are now, they needed that last year to get to a point where it's like, okay, we're going to see where we at. And now that they have the top receiver in football, I don't think that you can really rebuild with that. It's like really all or nothing. And I think with the coach they have now, that's their best bet.
They could have done all this with Steve Wilkes.
I agree. I agree 100%. But the fact that I don't think that you saying because you hire a black coach, you're going to get an extra pick. No, most of these white owners gonna be like, okay, cool, it sounds cute.
Well, here's the thing too. I could see it for the fact of the Steve Wilkes situation. You can hire like a hotshot offensive coordinator to go under their black head coach and like do some type under the table, promising on the day to get the head coaching job.
But why hasn't that been done before? Why does it take you get an extra 3rd round pick to finally hire a black coach?
Because the 3rd round pick in the NFL is
pretty solid.
It's a starter. It's a starter. Like
a trade piece.
Yeah. I think it's really, to me, when I first saw, I really think it's disgusting. To be completely honest with you,
I agree 100%.
To be in the year of 2020, and we have to incentivize a football team or a team in general to hire somebody black, and there are a lot of times when black people or black coaches have the resume, they have the wherewithal to lead a team, but we just don't get the opportunities to do so. So to be in the year 2020 and we have to pay or incentivize teams to hire somebody black or even get an interview, it's stupid, and I really think it's disgusting. I just really like it's things about the NFL that I think it's great, and I think it's things about the NFL that I just think is absolutely trash. And this is one of the things I think is absolutely trash. Teams, more so owners, they aren't patient enough with black coaches when they get the opportunity to do so. I don't think it's fair at all, and it's really sad and disgusting that we are at this that we're even having this discussion. When really all they have to do is just like, I mean, if we're going to have the Rooney Rule, then make sure that it's applied, right? So make sure that like when a team has an open position for an NFL coach, say, okay, here are the names that we have, and make sure one of those names, if it's 5 people you got lined up, make sure one of the 5 is a minority. We're not saying that you have to absolutely hire every black coach or every black person has to have a job interview, but at least give somebody a look.
I feel like that's what's going on now. Is like you got 5 potential candidates and one of them may be black, but he's still not gonna get hired.
They're not even doing that.
And it's possibly the worst possible black coach you can find.
John Gruden had the job before anybody. I mean, they went from like not having a person at all to John Gruden as the coach. Like, where were the interviews?
That's true.
The problem is that it's kind of similar to what was once the quarterback problem in the NFL is now like the head coach / offensive coordinator problem, where this is a predominantly white-driven position, head coach and offensive coordinator, off top, because most quarterbacks that play in college, and not necessarily like now in the NFL, because the NFL is going through like a renaissance with black quarterbacks, but before there were a lot of, quarterbacks, it's a white position. Elsewhere, black receivers, black O-linemen, black running backs, black DBs, black, everything. But the quarterback has always been, historically the white position. Yeah. And then what happens is these quarterbacks, more times than not, the backup quarterback becomes a head coach or a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator. And now teams are looking to go like the Sean McVay route and hiring a hotshot coordinator, whether or not they are successful in college or in NFL or not. As long as you got an offense that can move the ball, we want to hire you. Black offensive coordinators are few and far between. I'm thinking about Byron Leftwich. I think he's in Tampa Bay right now with Bruce Arians. I think he is. I'm thinking about Deuce Staley, who got passed over like 3 times for coach for the Eagles. He can't even get a coaching job right now. He wants to be offensive coordinator somewhere. We didn't even make him offensive coordinator. We decided to not go to offensive coordinator this year. Eric Bieniemy, like I mentioned before, he had the best offense in the NFL. Could not get a job, a head coaching job. That's the problem right there. And so having this thing where you're talking about hiring a minority head coach and then getting a 3rd-round pick, there ain't too many sought after minority head coaches based on they can't get OC jobs. And the only coach you think about now, Steve Wilks was a D coordinator. He was D coordinator and then became the head coach for the Cardinals. Mike Tomlin was a defensive backs coach. You can only go on defense, but teams do not want to hire a defensive-minded coach, period. That's just what it is. And so I can see, like I said before with Steve Wilks, where you get hired for 1 year, it don't work out, you get your pick, and then you get them out of there. And it'll be a whole problem that Stephen A. Smith, I'm sure, will make a rant about on ESPN. But I see it being a problem. I really do. I don't see nobody getting a chance. 2, I see it just not working out.
I don't see a team hiring a black coach just to benefit from the rule. I can't see that at all. If they are barely hiring black coaches now, like I said, y'all put a lot of emphasis on the 3rd-round pick. I understand it, but let's just say a coach get hired and they make the pick, and the pick just turned out to be a complete bust. You opening a can of worms in that one as well, a whole nother issue as well.
But there's no risk though of doing it. There's like 0 risk. If you get a pick and you miss, that's the NFL draft in general. It's a miss in the 1st round. It's been 1st-round pick. Jamarcus Russell was a bust at number 1 pick. As long as you get the chance, it's a ticket in the lottery. I'll take a free ticket if I just hire a coach for 1 year and then get him out of there. It's a sad truth.
And like you said, Stephen A. gonna go and have a whole rant about that one, bro.
Yeah.
Like I can't see that. But then again, this is America's favorite sport or league, so I could be wrong.
I know we have a lot to talk about on the show, so I'll make mine very brief. The saddest part about all this is that we had to even make a rule that said you had to interview a black person. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing that we don't quite mention or haven't mentioned yet is like we had to implement a rule that said you had to interview a black person for a head coach position. That is the first extreme slap in the face, because even at that time, we as African Americans still dominated that sport in regards to the athletes that were a part of that, right? And that's just across the board. So the fact that there is an amendment, so to speak, to the rule is just disgusting as it is. We are clearly qualified enough to play the position, to be Pro Bowls in the positions, to be Hall of Famers in the position. I also believe there are enough of us that can coach that position or coach teams as well. So we just need to, racism is nothing more than an onion. You just need to keep peeling back that onion of the layers of racism that do exist. And it's going to continue to exist because we allow it to exist. And the rule means absolutely nothing to me. I think it's, again, another slap in the face to African-American coaches that are able to and ready to coach. And it's a slap in the face to us as fans to say that we are even okay with the rule. Because to y'all's point, okay, I get a black coach. He's in for a year. I got a third-round pick. I don't like him. He's gone. I hire another black coach next year. I get another third-round pick, right? And so now we have a revolving door of black coaches, which is what we kind of, I guess, want. Because we want to see more black coaches in the league. So they'll get that based upon that, but they're not going to get the quality coaches that they actually need. And so, again, I think, first of all, the rule itself is just a slap in the face to us. Because we're the ones that, I'm watching football right now. I'm not sitting here watching and waiting for Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. I'm watching the other African Americans out here playing the sport, so to speak. And so it's just a slap in the face if you ask me. And I really wish the rule didn't exist, but I understand, unfortunately, in this level of racism, even in the year of 2020. I still see it.
I also don't understand how Roger Goodell is behind this. Like, I don't understand how he's for it. Like, I guess because he's not black, but I don't understand. Like, as the commissioner of the NFL, like, how do you okay this? Like, again, just do the bare minimum of, like, everybody that has if you're the Giants, the Raiders, the Buccaneers, whatever, give me 5 coaches, make sure one of them is a minority. Period. That's all you gotta do. Again, because he's not black. It's because he's not black.
The most hated commissioner in all sports.
Most rich too.
Like George said, man, you have to be hated to be great. Yeah. Apparently. But guess what it's time for? Last Dance review.
Thank God.
Hey.
Broke it down into everybody has their own episode package, so to speak. Savage will have episodes 1 and 2. Trevor will have 3 and 4. She will have 5 and 6. Tuka will have 7 and 8. Skyler will have 9 and 10. And me and Ashton will split the whole overview of the whole 10 episodes. So, Savage, what up?
So I got the first 2 episodes. The first episode, basically, chronicle Michael Jordan's time, coming up, high school and college, while also kind of going into like his beef with Jerry Krause. I had heard about Jerry Krause, but it really didn't, come to fruition for me until seeing it actually play out on the big screen, I guess. So one, just kind of briefly going over Michael Jordan's high school and college time, the fact this man grew like several inches over 1 year is just crazy to me, and then to was like 5'9", 5'8", and grow to like 6'3", 6'4", that.
5 though.
Yeah, but to kind of see that growth, you kind of see why players, like even now, like I'm thinking about like Anthony Davis, why they are able to, handle the ball but be like 6'10", and for some people, specifically Michael Jordan, it's just a blessing to just be gifted with that from God. And, compared to other people like us who are like, well, I'm 6'3", so I can't really say, but to other people who may be good at basketball but don't have the size and like the God-given ability to jump and move and to see perceptions of the court, it's just crazy that Jordan was blessed with that. And you just see that, not only having the God-given talent, but then having the work ethic to go with it, to just go from his time in high school and college to the NBA that was just crazy. And then with Jerry Krause, of course, y'all know about Jerry Krause. I kind of can see his vision for why he was wanting to break up the band, at the end of the Bulls dynasty. But like we said before, that's Michael Jordan, man. I mean, whenever he wants to sit down, you let him sit down, period. And I think that, and this is go into like the later episodes, that's what made Phil Jackson such a great coach, is that he understood his players. Like, he understood Dennis Rodman. He was like, hey, Rodman got to go wrestle with Hulk Hogan. Hey, do your thug, this will come back. You know, I think that was ultimately Jerry Krause's downfall. And then that next year, I believe the Bulls were like the worst team in the NBA in like '99, I believe.
You got rid of everybody.
Right. And so you kind of see like, hey, it didn't get better until Derrick Rose and them got there. And that was about a good decade later, you know.
Yeah, it was.
The episode two, of course, was Scottie Pippen. Scotty's agent. I don't know if Scotty's agent's still alive right now, but if he's alive right now, he need to be fired.
Yeah.
Whoever he an agent for, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just
Jimmy Sexton was his agent.
Jimmy Sexton. Hey man, you gotta go. Yeah, like that was just messed up with Scottie Pippen. But even Scottie Pippen's story, it kind of is funny how that kind of parallels Jordan as far as like he grew 8-9 inches in college, went from being a freaking manager of the team and then getting drafted, I think in the first round. Like that's just crazy to have that God-given ability along with the work ethic. That's like a perfect storm. But long story short, Scotty, I hope somebody pay him. I think there was like a GoFundMe made for Scottie Pippen to get his money. But yeah, just it was a good solid start to the series, and as y'all know, it pulled us in from first 2 episodes.
Hey, before we move on to Trevor, I had pulled up the NBA salary cap from back then, and someone I heard Jeff Calkins say on the show said salary cap was $26 million in 1998.
The cap was 26.
Yes, the salary cap.
You have to remember what the NBA was at that time, though. You have to remember where they was.
I could see that being a cap in like in the 80s, like in the 90s at that point, because I mean,
yeah, 84, bro. That's almost 3.
And he said in 84, it was 3.
Yeah, it was $3 million.
I mean, yeah, but that was during the era they needed to save the league, though. Like it wasn't expanded like it is.
What was the max player getting?
Probably 100,000. If that.
Right. And 3 pair covers.
All right, Trevor, 3 and 4.
All right, so this episode package has been brought to you by PTO, paid time off. So if you got it, go ahead and use it if you're working. Just always remember that. So starting with episode 3, much like episode 2 when they did a backstory on Scottie Pippen, episode 3 touches on the backstory of Dennis Rodman. Basically how he was just put out, was on his own once he graduated high school, was working as a janitor at Southeast Oklahoma State, eventually ended up on the team and eventually became a second-round pick of the Bad Boy Pistons. Then just jumping forward to the 98 season, of course, there was the infamous time where he came through and was like, and told Mike and Phil, I need a vacation. And he was pretty much sent to Vegas. He was supposed to party for 48 hours. Lord knows how long he was gone. And of course, Mike had to go and get him from a hotel suite in Chicago, was passed out, chilling there with coming lecturer. And I remember the story with her saying that she ended up hiding and basically Jordan going to get Robin. And I will never forget the whole Eddie Kane from the 5 Heartbeats memes that was going out for to describe that. And then just for on the side of 98, the Bulls had got out to a slow start. And it wasn't till Rodman kind of had that little vacation and started to pick it up a little bit, especially with Scottie Pippen being out with his injury at the time. Was just helping to get started there. Episode 4 goes more into the side of Phil, just from his playing days when he's playing with the Knicks to his early beginnings as a coach, until where he eventually ended up as an assistant under Doug Collins. Didn't know that him and Doug Collins actually got into it because Phil actually wanted to institute the triangle there. Doug Collins was like, no, I'm not doing that. Of course, Phil got on the side of Jerry Krause and eventually ended up taking the head coaching job. On the side in terms of Mike, this was around the time where Mike was trying to get through the Bad Boy Pistons at the time. And of course, after the few failed attempts, he eventually had to work on his body. Started lifting weights, and he was eventually able to break through and make it to the finals for the first time, where he captured his first championship. Never forget also what Phil had told Mike, especially that one scene in the huddle when they was talking. He was like, Mike, who's open? He was like, Paxton. Well, give him the damn ball. So it was just at that point with Phil having to teach Mike, man, just how to be a better teammate instead of just trying to be the go-to guy. I mean, with the talent that he had, of course, it was possible, but of course, you're only as good as the other 4 guys on the floor. So, and then to close it out with the 98 season, the Bulls eventually, as I mentioned, picked it up, got on a nice little stride, and that was going towards the All-Star break. And that's how episode 4 ends.
So we all agreed Dennis Rodman started load management, right?
Big facts. Yep.
I mean, he was low managing with Carmen Electra. I mean,
hey, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
Bro had Carmen Electra, Tony Braxton, and Vivica Fox at some point. Like, bro,
he's ugly. Like what?
Bro was getting.
But he was one that was partying and being out there with him though at the same time.
Yeah.
So
episode 5 and 6.
Yeah, so I was like, man, episode 5 and 6, like, why did I want to do these episodes? And it was really because I just didn't want to be the first person to talk or the last person to talk. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That's why I chose these. But then, let's be real. But then, like, I literally started watching episode 5, and to thank you, Trevor, for bringing out whatever your cue was about episode 3 and 4, PTO, right?
Yeah.
And so for mine, for 5 and 6 was about health. And so as you look into the way episode 5 starts off, the first 10 minutes of episode 5 tell you so much about Jordan himself, right? It starts off, first of all, this is the Kobe episode, so rest in peace to Kobe for that one. But Kobe needed help, right? Yeah. It was his first All-Star game. It was supposed to be Jordan's last All-Star game. But we all know he came back with the Wizards averaging 24 and 5. So he's back in the All-Star game. Nor did I pick this because of Sean Kemp being in there too, by the way. I know I saw Sean Kemp. But when it turns to help, it also trolls back to during that All-Star game. It talks about the 91 season, and Wilbon actually talks about the 92 Bulls being some of the best Bulls teams that he's seen. And I actually go back and I looked at 91 to see how great they were. That 91 team, they swept the Knicks, by the way. And I know we're going to get into this later about the New York Knicks, but I won't even say what I got to say. So, lost to the Knicks. They needed help. They swept the Knicks. The next one was the Sixers with Charles Barkley. They won 1 game. He needed help. Then they went and swept the Pistons because they needed help. And then, of course, they went to go on to play the Lakers. They were 4-1. They beat them 4-1 because Magic needed to go get help for what he was dealing with. And then it talks about 92 with Clyde Drexler. Clyde clearly needed help. And Clyde needed Michael Jordan to get out the league just to get a championship again because he had to go to the Rockets to get that. So he needed help. Right?
Priest tone.
Yeah. And so I'm not done with the help, though, right? I'm not done with the help.
Help us.
So after 92, he took after beating the 76ers in 92, he took 1 week off to go and help the United States, right? Mm-hmm. Dream Team, right? After winning back-to-back championships. So he's charged with that. And then, of course, we're talking about Isaiah, how him and Isaiah was really smug to the whole league. It wasn't just Michael Jordan, right? And you don't even need to watch tape of what the Last Dance says. If you just know basketball, how the Pistons were, they didn't get the name Bad Boy Pistons because of how they were with just the Bulls. It was everyone, right? And so that was just the mentality that they had. And so as they're at the Olympics, who needs help? The Bulls do. With giving it to Tony Kukoc, right? They bullied him. But you tell me this. Name me somebody else that gave you 16 points, 6 assists against 11 of the top 50 players at that time.
No slouch.
He's not, right? And so, but I'm not done with the help. Reebok needed help. Jordan said, not happening.
Still need help, boy.
Yeah. And so, like, he also, and at that time, Jordan became like a brand himself. So you were like Mike, not just because of the Jays, because the Gatorade, McDonald's, stuff like that. But who else needed help? Was Grant or Gant, my fault, Harvey Gant, needed help. Jordan reluctantly didn't help him verbally, but did at least slide him a little chump change for that. Michael Jordan taught you to be in your lane. He knows basketball, stick to basketball. But of course, the comments that he said, it is what it is. So you get into episode 6, they start talking about more about the rules of Jordan, which kind of started accumulating within the locker room, and they thought it would like break up the team along with his competitive spirit. I think episode 6 really talked about the spirit of competitiveness for Michael Jordan. That competitive spirit drowned Michael Jordan, but also drowned the Knicks, who were up 2-0 and then got swept 4 games straight because they needed some more help to stop Michael Jordan. Because besides that dunk that John Starks did with his left hand and Allen Houston hitting that floater off the back rim, we don't care about the Knicks at all.
Okay,
but
man.
who else needed help, though, was Michael Jordan. He needed help against the Suns with John Paxson hitting that corner shot. If John Paxson doesn't hit that shot, we may be talking a little bit differently. Maybe, because they were actually down 2 when he hit that shot. But help was what I saw episodes 5 and 6 at.
Like that.
Can I add something to it before we go to 7 and 8? Another person that needed help, and just to go back to 3 and 4, was IT, the other Isaiah Thomas, who was constantly getting trolled each time the Pistons Isaiah Thomas was on TV. So in terms of help, someone should have been out there to help IT.
Right.
All right, 7 and 8.
All right, 7 and 8, man. It's so much that they covered in 7 and 8. If I had to give my package a title, it'll be ready what you asked for. And that comes with, playing with Michael Jordan, and whether he was toxic to play with or not. We saw his relationship with, a lot of his teammates, from Steve Kerr to Scott Burrell, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just a toxic situation that some people would call. But like Jordan said, in episode 7, it's the cost of winning. You know what I'm saying? Let me I actually got the quote. He said, "I wanted to win, but I wanted to be a part of the winning as well." You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to play that way, then don't play that way. And that was the time when he was like, you know what, just, let's take a break. And I think that whole overall scene was just, you can tell that, like, if you don't want to win, you don't want to play with Michael Jordan. And somebody said a quote ago, like, if you want to have fun, you play with LeBron. If you want to win, you play with Kobe. If you want to win championships, you're going to play with Michael Jordan. And we saw, like I said, the toxic in that situation. But you also got to be ready for, when, some people didn't want to. Michael Jordan was messing up the league because it was winning so much. So for the fans that didn't want to see Michael Jordan put on a basketball jersey again, they got that opportunity when he went to go play baseball. And shout out to the Rockets for coming in and doing everything while he was gone. But if Jordan never left, maybe he would have won. Was it 8 in a row?
8.
like possibly 8 in a row. So what I'm saying, for the people that thought that Jordan was ruining the game, they got a chance to see what the game looked like without Michael Jordan, and they got a chance to see what it looked like when he came back. You know what I'm saying? In episode, I think that was, I guess, between 7 and 8, really. When he came back, you know what I'm saying, and went to go play baseball. And they also talked about when his father passed away, he came back and won the championship that year, and all you can see was just Jordan on the floor just crying, missing his dad, because before Jordan retired, of course, we all know the story that he went to baseball because his dad wanted him to play baseball. Jordan wanted to play baseball. We episode, which one was episode 7, when they dug more into episode 7, when they dug more into like his baseball history, and people really didn't understand why Michael Jordan went to go play baseball, and it's because he wanted to play it. Like, that was also coming off his 3rd year, the first of the 3 piece. Appreciate it. The first of the 3rd week piece. You can just tell how tired he was. You can tell that he wanted something. You can tell that he was tired of having the NBA on his shoulders. So, he was already talking about it before, with the Dream Team and whatnot, that he wanted to just go play baseball, and he got the opportunity to do that. Unfortunately, his father passed away, but, he came back and wanted, and did his thing for him. Let's see, what else do I got? Because like I said, it's so much. the Steve Burrell relationship that they had was hilarious as hell. He pretty much punked him, man. He pretty much
That was low-key my favorite thing about the documentary. I ain't gonna lie.
I don't know about that. It was just pure trash talk, bro. Like pure trash talk.
And he had a good personality about it. He wasn't like just messing about it.
Because at the end of the day, it's like you still played and won, a championship. Like a lot of people won't be able to say that. Like a lot of people won't be able to say that. So yeah, wicked season. Let me see. We can go into the fact that when Pippen let the team down when Tony Kukoc, when Phil Jackson made the play to Tony Kukoc instead of making it about Scottie Pippen. A lot of people understood Scottie Pippen's mentality though. It's like, if I'm the best player on the game, I've been waiting for the opportunity to show that I'm the best player on the team. Let me help lead this team. And Phil's like, nah, we gonna do something else. You can understand. Yeah, he peeled it.
But it's a play that like Tony scored like almost every time they ran it. So it's like, go with what you know at that point.
It's a great coach.
It's kind of, you can see both sides, man. You can see both sides. Like it's a great coaching for Phil Jackson to acknowledge that as well. Yeah. But for Pippen to sit out, you can see like everybody's frustration and everything. And like I said, Pippen is not the kind of guy that to leave his team out like that. So you knew there was something going on with him as well. Underpaid. Not being underappreciated. And like I said, he got a chance to prove himself when the best player in the league on, and he arguably was the best player in the time. And it's like, dude, put the ball on my hand, let me go in and win. So shout out to Tony Kukoc for hitting that shot. Let me see. Episode 8, you kind of, they got shout out to Penny Hardaway for making his, little appearance in it. You know what I'm saying? The only time Jordan where anybody else's shoe was Penny Hardaway. I hate that they didn't get into that story, honestly. Like, that's probably my biggest thing is that they didn't get, they didn't. Mike didn't say too. I don't think he said anything about Penny Hardaway, to be honest with you, because Penny was next. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan did wear his shoes in the playoffs, and it's like, I think that's respect to where it's due. But like I said, that's the only thing. That and the Space Jam. I would love to see how they pick, some of the players that they have for Space Jam. Jordan hated Charles Barkley, but he was in Space Jam. You know what I'm saying? Muggsy Bogues, the smallest player in the league. Like, how did they come across, everybody coming? How did they pick the players for Space Jam? That's like my biggest question. But I like the fact that you can still see Jordan's fire in it, because after, like I said, they were recording, they were hooping. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And people like kind of psych on LeBron now for going to the Summer League or Team USA and being like, and just scouting people. But Jordan did the same thing, especially when he had that year and a half off. So I think, like I said, episodes 7 and 8, they really dove into a lot of things. But easily the biggest takeaway was when the producer gave Jordan the iPad about what Gary Payton said to him. And just that laugh.
We're going to be scarred about that, bro.
That was hilarious.
Jordan meme, like, I don't know. I think that got the crying Jordan meme.
No,
I think it does.
All that is a Jordan with the iPad. That's all 4 of those when he had the iPad. It's a meme in itself.
I think they got the crying the Jordan emoji, man. Not the meme, but like I said, episode 7 and 8 covered a lot. Like I said, really, you can see the will for Jordan. You can see it through definitely all 10 episodes, but I think 7 and 8 did such a great job. It's, especially during the break part when Jordan had to be like, yo, if y'all ain't trying to win, like, y'all ain't trying to play with me. And you know what I'm saying? If you trying to play with me, then you better be ready to win. So salute to Michael Jordan.
Young Took. How you forget the fight, man?
The fight.
Oh! Yeah, I don't know how you forgot that neither.
Because I'm alive,
man. So you weren't gonna. So like Steve Kerr said, you ain't gonna give him his credit that he stuck up the mic. Like, come on, bro.
Exactly, bro.
Hey man, I'm all about peace, love, and positivity.
Hey, speaking of Steve Kerr has always been invited to the cookout, but this is
solidified.
This solidified it.
Definitely. But like I said, the fight, man. I think the fight definitely helped, as we saw with their relationship, and Steve Kerr needed that. Definitely, they needed that moment for Jordan to be like, okay, I can trust this dude, because like I said, he knew he was coming in John Paxson's, shoes, coming to fill some big shoes. Like I said, like y'all said, John Paxson came and hit that shot. Steve Kerr did the same thing, but I think if it weren't for him standing up for himself and going against Jordan like that, Steve Kerr don't even take the shot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
Good
right.
one, y'all.
Oh, we just
All
gonna
right.
see how you forgot that. There's a,
Because
Yeah.
I'm preaching love, positivity, and happiness.
Amen, bro.
That's like the.
What you
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. As I just really quick before Skylar goes, I'm sorry. Two other things about him, because when you say Gary Payne, I forgot during the All-Star game, y'all remember that conversation that he had with MJ? Talking about seeing the
Yeah.
finals. Well, clearly, Gary Payne and them needed some help, right? To get back there. And one more help thing. Yeah, I'm wearing it. They needed the help. Adidas.
I can't see that fuzz.
Adidas, I'm sorry.
I'm not used to seeing that
So-
logo. Where's that logo from?
So, Adidas. It's like I got you. So he liked Adidas. He wanted to be a part of Adidas.
Yeah.
And at the time,
Yeah.
everybody was signed with Converse. And Adidas wasn't ready to give Michael Jordan the spotlight that he truly needed. But Nike did.
Shout out to Lawrence Jordan.
And now, look at us now. It's Nike factories in Memphis, ain't Adidas factories in Memphis. So Adidas could have used the help as well.
Yeah.
Sorry to you, Scholar, for 9 and 10.
I'm pretty sure he wanted to go with Adidas because back in that time, I think LL Cool J, Run and DMC and all of them were wearing Adidas. And that probably, influenced him to want to go over there and be a part of that type of culture. So I'm pretty sure that's why he wanted to go with Adidas, because that's when they was running the jumpsuits and chain. Yeah, he wanted to be a part of that culture. So I'm pretty sure that's why he wanted to go over there. And Nike wasn't putting on nothing but runners. So, bad move, Adidas.
9 and 10.
9 and 10. If we're going to
Bring it
give
home.
out names for the different episodes, if I could give one out, I would definitely like to go Mind Over Matter. When you get to really the last half of the documentary, you kind of see how Jordan would find any and everything just to really motivate him. And that's something I already knew about him. But he finds the smallest of things, whether it's something that somebody said, whether it's an award that somebody got, and use that as a competitive edge. So episode 9, that of course that goes into the series that they have with the Pacers, and he really starts by saying that like the Indiana Pacers that year was probably the toughest team that they faced in the Eastern Conference that year. I think I'm not sure if it was just that year, because he also mentioned Detroit as well too. So they talked about how hard this series was, and he would talk about every time he went into the game, he came back out. There's a scratch where he was getting bowled, he was getting elbowed, he was getting the brakes beat off of him for real, but he was still they were still able to take that championship home. So they talk about that. Of course, then we all get fooled, and we thought it was the flu game, but we also it finds out that it was food poisoning. So I heard about that a couple years ago.
Wait,
Yep.
I want one question.
Definitely food poisoning.
Is you trusting your pizza that came to your door with 5 people, knowing who you are? 5 people delivering one pizza. You got everybody. You got your trainer in the room. You got your friends in the room.
You don't know what it is.
Hey, bro, I'm gonna let you know right now. Y'all in the room with me. I'm the player. Hey, one of y'all taking a bite out this pizza for me, bro. It's straight up, bro. I'm not.
Who's
I
gonna
gotta go
ask
play a
Michael
game
Jordan?
tomorrow, bro. I'm not finna take a bite first. You take a bite, bro. You ain't gotta even touch the court.
Well, before you even do all that, of the 5 people that's in the room, why does Jordan's name go on it? Why? That's the smart thing, not to put Jordan's name on it.
I'm not even sure his name was just
Exactly.
on it. I believe they just knew where it was going.
Right. So
And who's gonna ask Michael Jordan for a slice of pizza?
Well, he was saying
Like,
Michael
nobody.
Jordan should have had somebody else.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Had somebody else eat it.
Listen,
Your
took
trainer.
time on it.
Your
Hold on.
trainer.
Hold on, can we throw shade at Utah for only having one spot open at that time?
Whoa.
That's
bro,
about right.
That's
That's
right.
about right.
Hey, I'm not even
right.
gonna front. There's a lot of cities like that. DC is like that. It's shut down at 10 o'clock. Ain't nothing open. You gotta go outside the city and get
Yeah,
something.
it ain't like Memphis where you get a bunch of Dixie Queens and stuff. And
Exactly.
exactly.
Bro, I like to add. I don't know if y'all saw my tweet yesterday.
But to talk about the food poisoning game, I still thought, regardless of how sick he was, he still put up 38 points. He still gave out buckets. And again, to go back to the mind over matter, to be that sick in an NBA game, in a finals game, to still put up 38 points is It's absolutely ridiculous. I've had the flu before. I've had food poisoning before. And I don't even want to get out the bed. Gee.
Exactly.
my mind ain't even trying to think about like trying to get out of the bed or trying to do anything. And this man, like literally, the miles that he has on his body at this point, the scratches, the bruises, to be able to get up and then to still like put on a performance like that is nothing short of like remarkable, really. So we found out about the flu game. We also get Savage also talked about Steve Kerr, so you get the backstory about him. Definitely didn't know that story about his father. That hurt a little bit. But then you also see because of his father's background why he takes such different stances when it comes to like politics and race and things like that. So to see how his father died was really hard to kind of see.
Quick story about Steve Kerr. After his dad died, I think he put up 40 the next game he played in Arizona. Something crazy like that.
Yeah. So then if talk about fathers, and then the story that I really like is his head security guard Gus. I really like that story because they talk about Gus and how that relationship, how it started, and how he really wanted Gus to kind of follow him all over the place. And Gus ended up getting sick, and then by the time when Gus was sick, they were still going back and forth with the Jazz in their finals. And then Gus shows up for Game 7. What was it, Game 7?
6, I think.
Those games are.
Yeah, good. They show up and then he won. So he talked about their relationship he had with them, and we all heard about what happened with his father. But to have Gus there with them, whether that was going to games or going to the locker room with them, to have him there alongside with them kind of felt like a father figure to him. So that really stuck out to me. And then episode 10 to kind of bring everything home. One thing that I kind of did like is I like how they kind of jump back and forth, whether it was 97, then they go to 88, then they go back to 97, then they in 91. So I did like that. And so then episode 10 kind of brings everything home. So they're back in the finals against the Jazz, who they actually didn't even beat in the regular season at all. That's the only team that they did not beat in the regular season was the Jazz. And that Jazz team was a really good team to have two Hall of Famers on that team. Was really good too. So they talked about they talked about that final series. They highlight how the Jazz only scored 54 points in the game.
That was crazy.
Is this the final score? Is this the final score?
54 points. Actually, to what Ashley says, Jerry Sloan actually says like, "Is this the final score of the game?" I was like, "Yeah, but you got blown out." So they only scored 54 points again, and of course you can't skip over Rodman and how he literally skipped an entire practice. The NBA Finals skipped an entire practice to go be with y'all boy Hulk Hogan. Again,
y'all boy, wait, slow down there.
No, bro. When they showed somebody trying to get away from the media, it might took off and run, bro.
That was funny too.
Dude, that could not happen. That could not happen in today's game.
Not at all.
Could not happen because bro, it was spin, everybody would be all over there. So they talked about how Rodman's practice. He was fined like $20,000. I think he showed up on WWE and got like $200,000 or something like that. So that's a finesse for me. That's easy finesse for me. So and again, to go back to what Savage said, it really shows you the character that fit, or what am I looking for? Like what? Yeah, Phil Jackson, like how he really had his hand like around this team and really like he knew how to control different people, whether it was Jordan, Pippen, and especially I'm not sure how in the hell he put up with Dennis Rodman because I don't know if I could do that either. Regardless if I'm winning 6 rings tonight, he probably would have been gone. But that's just me. So they talk about that, and then of course go into Game 6, where Pippen has the stiff back, and then you go to where like it's 41 seconds left in the game, and then Jordan literally just takes over the game takes the ball to the basket, scores 2 points there. Karl Malone he gets the steal from Karl Malone, and then of course we kind of know the infamous shot where he literally just. Whether you want to say he pushed Brian Russell or not, it's still a good shot.
It's a crossover.
It wasn't no push. We all that barely touched him, man. He ain't pushing.
It's a crossover.
He was already going their way, bro. Go on.
Exactly. So they talk about the shot, and then of course the episode 10, they wrap it up by them winning their second three-peat. So I just think that this documentary series was really good, and then at the end, you see where there's a bunch of speculation about like who's the reason that about how this Bull team broke up, whether it be the owner, whether the GM. You also find out that Phil Jackson was actually told that he could come back to coach the team. So that's pretty much how it ended. But at the end of the day, like, I think all of us can say this is probably one of the best sports documentaries that we've ever seen. Like, regardless of when it came out and who was it about. And I know some people got on our Twitter feed and they mentioned say it again. OJ. Yeah, they talked about
Man in America,
the OJ documentary. I think at the end of the day, this is probably one of the best ones. Yeah.
It's definitely 1A. It's definitely 1A for me. Yeah.
But hey, well, speaking of that, the whole question for that was, what's the last dance the best sports documentary series you have seen that we posted on Twitter? Now, of course, I know it's right afterward, but we're recording today. We didn't have enough time to wait and let it digest in. But it was 79% yes and 21% no. And on Instagram, it was 3 no's and like 9 yeses. So, but
yeah, I think so. I mean, because you covered so many different stories. Not even it wasn't even just about Jordan. You got different people. You got different players. You got Phil. You got a little bit of the Collins. You got some of the staff members who worked in the arena. Like, it was just overall. Like, it could have easily been about Jordan and it been like selfish, but if anything, it made me like Jordan even more. Like, just to see his competitive drive, and even like other people more. Like I said, Steve Kerr, but even with like Phil Jackson, like, one thing that frustrated me about Phil Jackson as a Lakers fan was when he never called timeout. Like, I just get so mad. Like, bro, please call timeout. But it slipped my mind that Phil did not call timeout on Jordan's last shot. Like, I was like, wow. Like, that's just Phil. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate Phil Jackson even more, because of that. Like, he is the greatest basketball coach of all time, like, period.
Trusted his players.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's two things that I think made it the documentary, the best sports documentary. It's like you were able to see the greatest player ever in depth. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have heard the stories. A lot of people have seen little tidbits. But when you got 10 episodes that show why, this is arguably the greatest team, none arguably like he's the best player to ever play. Like, I think it puts to rest any kind of argument that it may be against anybody else. And it's because of his work ethic. And I think that was like one of the most things that inspired me is like his just like hunger for the game, hunger and passion for it. Like, if you can apply that to your life, it's like you can do anything. And for two, it's like, me, I'm a DJ. Like, if y'all go on Spotify and y'all pull up that Last Dance playlist, it's probably one of the best playlists you'll
There's some bangers on that joint. Like, there's some bangers on that joint.
It's some heat. And I don't think any kind of documentary period that'll have that kind of like music selection. So, you know what I'm saying? For the way they put the music in the documentary and everything, it was dope. Like, it was dope all around. And I'm happy we were able to experience that.
Yeah. Well, to sum it all up, we know who the real GOAT is, Sheedy.
Yeah, Mr. Ohio,
so
man.
Much, y'all, man. I'm still awake. Thank you for telling me I'm the GOAT. No, we talking about MJ, dog. Mr. guy from Akron, you get you in that vlog, great. But yeah, we know that. Don't know, now you know.
Exactly.
Go from there. I took just a couple of notes from an episode. So, got a couple of documentary suggestions for the people out there. Episode 3, that was basically the Dennis Rodman documentary that came out last year. So you watch it? Go watch it. That was just the other side of the story.
Documentary. Yeah.
Episode 4 was the Bad Boys documentary that came out a couple years ago. You ain't seen it? Go watch it.
Go watch it.
The joint documentary is the best, but the Bad Boys is my favorite. Like,
yeah, that sounds straight.
I love that documentary.
Episode 5, Dream Team documentary. You ain't seen it? There you go.
Go see it.
Episodes kind of just like kicked off, back and forth from each other. You want to know more about Penny and the Magic Moment documentary. Penny and Shaq. Let's go.
Hey.
Scott Burrell was my favorite scenes. Anything with him. First told him to get some sleep. His parents, his wife had tweeted. Scott Burrell's wife had tweeted out. So it was that whole everything with Scott Burrell was hilarious. On Kukoc is my guy. He been my guy. He proved it in the documentary. He had 4 game winning shots in this season. That Phil Jackson called that shot for him. So hey,
second round pick.
Sorry.
Hey, You left out one more documentary too. If you want to know more about Jordan's time playing baseball, watch Jordan Rides the Bus. So there you go.
Actually, I was about to get to him. He wasn't that bad at baseball. He batted
Right.
202 his first year, which, I mean, for a person who hadn't played baseball since in 14 years, I mean.
You know what's funny, Sharky? I thought that Jordan would slob baseball because of Space Jam.
Right.
And I'll date myself and age myself with this. I actually had the opportunity to watch Mike as he was playing in Birmingham to play against the then Memphis Chicks. And in that game, he actually went 1 for 3 with a single. So
Amazing.
Jordan was not that bad at baseball, but you would probably think so if you just saw Space Jam and
It was me.
and just assumed it. But yeah.
I tell you what, in 2020, you can't have no team called Memphis Chicks.
Hey, Memphis Junks in the.
All right, before I move on to Aston, episode 7 and 8 were my favorite, were the best ones to me. You saw the emotion of Mike, finally, winning the top 9 and winning, to see him crying on. It's like I saw that scene, I seen it before, but I was like bracing myself to see it on the episode.
Because they had the audio to go to match it.
Right.
When the audio hit, that was dope.
Aston.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna front you. I haven't watched TV in so long until that documentary, man. That was pretty much me reliving my whole childhood. As y'all see, the last shot is behind me on the newspaper and everything. So to relive and see, and for all the LeBron fans for them to see actual greatness and see where LeBron and everybody in the league today got their game from. Hey.
Shots fired.
I'm tired of it. Like, bro, the list ESPN is putting out on IG and stuff like that is highly upsetting. But
Very.
some of the, just some of the stuff to take away from the documentary. Like he said, if you haven't won, it's hard to understand where he comes from, man, because it gets physical on the court. And once you're getting your ass twaxed every day, once you're getting twaxed every day in practice, you going at each other, man. Like, it's just the way you go about it. If you actually care about the game, you get mad. Seriously, you're not gonna pass your teammate the ball. If I feel like you garbage, all right, bro, you the last person I'm thinking about getting the ball to. Simple as that. And then you understand some people don't care about the game like you do, and I definitely felt him on that. Not everybody cares about the game like that. They just play it just to play it to have fun. But the ones that make it, the ones that actually care about the game and care about their work ethic, they succeed. And Jordan showed his work ethic all the time. Now, he probably sacrificed plenty of family time, late nights, early mornings to make sure he was the greatest, but that's what it took. And, even though we'll probably get a LeBron documentary 15 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever, to show what he did behind the scenes as well. But Jordan changed the game for everybody. He saved the league. He made basketball popular for everybody in our generation, including Trevor's 3 generations back, whatever you was talking about with Memphis Chicks. But no, I enjoyed this documentary because it gave you sight that Jordan ain't just about his shoes, and he won 6 championships. And I feel like it always just gets, I guess, overshadowed what he actually did for the game and, what he actually did behind the scenes. I enjoyed that we saw, the Space Jam scenes, the fights. I'm honestly glad they really gave them access to all that this year. Didn't know about Steve Kerr. That put Steve Kerr super high on my list as far as respect, because who punching Michael Jordan? Out of Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller. Besides Reggie Miller probably the only other person that would probably win at Mike. But every other Hall of Famer GOAT never went at Mike like that. They may cuss you out. And I'm gonna add a funny fact. Hearing him cuss and use the terms that we use these days is hilarious, bro. It's so weird. It's so weird to him talk trash and cuss, bro. It's just so weird. But the thing that I get from this documentary is he had Hall of Famers and people that, you know, probably thought they was the greatest players bowing down to him, saying, "Oh yeah, he the GOAT, man. He next up. He the best to ever do it." We talking about Magic Johnson saying that, Larry Bird saying that, his peers are saying that, you know. And it's no shade to LeBron and stuff like that, but you got Hall of Famers and people that you're going against, solidifying that you're the greatest. And you know, media does this job for LeBron, and I understand LeBron has his own feats and stuff like that. But when you're talking about 20, 30 Hall of Famers, you know, saying that you're the greatest, I'm sorry, I have to put you up there. But honestly, man, I've been waiting on this documentary forever. I got all this stuff on tape. Sorry, I just ain't gonna go back and watch VHS. It's over for it. But I got all this stuff on tape, man. I can tell you, I remember those games like they were yesterday because, like I said, we recorded it. I probably forced my dad to watch those 6 times. The Jazz series was probably the most stressful series in the world for me. I used to hate Hornacek and Stockton and stuff like that. But man, shout out to Karl Malone, y'all. You know, y'all Hall of Fame Laker fans and stuff like that.
Hey, he did give Jordan his respect, though.
I mean, but nobody else shook his hand like that. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I'm not even gonna front you. I'm too much of a competitor. I'm too much of a competitor to come up there on the bus. We can do it all on the court in the stadium, but I'm not gonna come on the bus and shake your hand, man. Good job. No, it's over for it. But I was glad everybody get to see the competitive drive that, you know, that it takes to win. And I mean, you see where Kobe got his from. You know, he took everything from Mike that he could. And you know, I shout out to Kobe. You know, we all miss him. You know, Jordan touched a lot of people, man, and I'm glad he was able to actually touch a few more lives through this documentary. But overall, it was a great documentary. Probably nothing's gonna beat that. I'm sorry. The only thing I'm not even gonna say Kobe's documentary is gonna beat it, but it'll be up there probably just because he's gone right now.
Before we move on, I got to give a couple shout outs to a couple people we didn't mention. Dan Marty. Jordan mentioned him in that Phoenix Suns series. Jared Krause. Another reason to go hard in this series.
That man said, "Oh, he can play defense." Oh, okay.
And Ron Harper for the Cleveland shot. Man, his Cleveland teammates came out after that, and they kind of had a problem with that because they, as far as they know, like Mark Price, they came out was like, who? Like they was like, I don't recall him being a defensive stopper. So
And Ron went to go join the Bulls.
Right.
Exactly.
I just wanted to mention that, but I guess for the last thing, do y'all want, for the end of the episode, do y'all want to troll it out, or do y'all want to do a couple questions around the documentary?
I'll take the questions.
We might as well do the questions.
Both.
Or
This
both.
man.
Just whatever.
What time it is?
He must have a lot of
Yeah, let's keep it last dance. I like talking about it.
Yeah, let's
All right.
I mean, it's a lot to talk about. So yeah, it's.
I got one. Okay. The likelihood, let's say hypothetically, I'm not sure if Scottie Pippen would have came back on the way the salary cap was at that time. I doubt he would have settled for another $2 billion contract. Salary cap was $30 million that next year. So we're just gonna assume that he would have came back. Let's say Michael Jordan takes a pay cut.
I would. If Jordan came back, Scottie would have came back. I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, their whole lineup would have came back. Like
Yeah,
you said,
so-
all them folks would have came back.
Let's just say that I'll come back and Phil Jackson comes back. How tired they was, but you had the lockout. Do y'all believe they would have won the 7th ring?
Yes.
I don't.
What is that, 99?
who knocks him out?
At 98, 99 season?
98,
Yeah.
98.
San
It's,
Antonio.
the 98, 99. Okay, I thought we were
That's
talking about the
ni-
first repeat.
Yeah.
That's 98, 99.
Who won 98, 99? The Spurs?
Yeah.
Spurs. Yeah.
Spurs beat
They beat the Knicks.
The Knicks finally made
It
it
was an
out.
8 seed.
The Knicks were 18.
Who was an 8 seed?
The Bulls
Yeah.
just went back.
It wasn't really an 8 seed. It was a lockout season.
Yeah,
so,
it was like that, but
Yeah.
Westcott was hurt though. Patrick Ewing got hurt or something. They like made it without like their best player.
Right.
What,
That's
what
true.
Knicks had, what was it, John Starks or something like that?
No, they ain't had Sparks.
Allen Houston,
Okay, Allen Houston. Okay, I had them mixed up.
Mark
Okay.
Jackson was there, I think.
Mark
I think he was
Jackson,
there.
yeah. No, he was still in Indiana at the time.
Indiana, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, LJ, Larry Johnson was on that squad,
Johnson was
but
there.
he was well past his time with the Hornets.
So I'm looking at the Eastern Conference from that year. The number 1 seed was Sheedy's Miami Heat and Sharky's Miami Heat. It was Miami. It was Miami, Indiana, Orlando with Penny and Magic, I'm assuming. Hawks, Pistons, Sixers, Bucks, Knicks. Man, Jordan would have slapped these fools. Jordan would have slapped these fools.
Probably would have been another Magic.
Yeah, I'm gonna say with a lockout season, he would have definitely got through that. I'm just not sure about the Spurs though, and that's because the big man. Like I don't think they saw. I don't think they saw the quality of big men like that with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Yeah, they had two. They went against Patrick Ewing, but I mean to have Tim Duncan and Tim Duncan. Yeah, David Robinson. To face both of them, I don't know.
But you got to think David Robinson was getting ready to retire, and Tim Duncan was a rookie.
Well, Robinson he retired the following year. I think.
This is Duncan's second year.
It's still like at the end of like Robinson's career, so I think we got to put that in effect too. Yeah. It's not like we're talking about a prime Robinson and a prime.
I still think he was in his prime. If I watched that finals, I think he was in his prime. I go look.
He was well rested.
Who was in their prime?
David Robinson was still in his prime. I feel
when did
like
he retire?
Like 2 years later, I believe.
No, 4 years after 2003.
2003. Okay.
Remember he came back for a little bit, but yeah.
Okay. Nah, I got the Bulls.
I think it's fair. If there's you got to give Jordan the benefit of the doubt at the end of the day. Like if you're gonna say, for me, I was like, I don't know, it's the Spurs. Like I think at the end of the day, like you give Jordan the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he ain't lost to nobody else. The one year he did lose, he came back toward the end of the year. So I think at the end of the day, you just got to give it to him.
I mean, Steve Kerr was even on that lineup in 98, 99 for Spurs, so you take him out of that too.
That's a good point.
He's a system player. I don't expect him to do too much at all. That system that he was in was the best for him. But Sean Elliott.
I mean, if we want to like just kind of go ahead, we can go on. Dude averaged 2 points a game in the finals, so it's like he won
role play. Yeah,
2 points.
His role.
1.8
played well.
1.8 points a game.
Role play. Yeah.
No, that's cool.
I mean, if we want to talk about points, Ben Wallace a couple years later did the same thing.
We're not going to go offense to defense, bro. That's not what.
But I'm just saying. Points didn't matter back at this time. Anyway, next question.
No, back. I think what we would have seen for sure is a great coaching matchup for the finals.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
With Popovich and Jackson.
Young Pop.
Yes, a young Pop, but it's still a winning Pop.
Yeah.
Clearly at that point. And I believe that the Spurs had enough even within that season to actually at least take Jordan at least to 7 games.
7. It'd be 7. Yeah.
Because Jordan never went to 7 games in the finals, NBA finals. He went in the Eastern Conference finals, but never in the NBA finals. And so then that determines like where's that 7th game played at. So do the Spurs? Well, clearly I would say the Spurs probably have the better record for now to say that at the Alamo Dome. So I actually will give it to the Spurs. I believe the Spurs had enough of the big men because Bill Winnington. Now, don't get me wrong. Dennis Rodman can defend, rebound. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. But that's only 1 out of 2. And at that time, Tim Duncan was really more of a force than what he is now, right? And then even the Admiral was still running the floor like a young goat. And so I honestly believe that the Spurs would at least went to 7. And so I'll give the edge to the Spurs because Jordan never had to go to a game 7 in the NBA Finals.
How close, years before, how close did the Spurs ever get to the finals or even playoffs, really?
Before that?
Mm-hmm.
I'll look it up.
Because as they said, that experience counts. So it's just like, their first trip.
Well, I think that was their first trip.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Experience count, bro.
Yep. Yeah. Well, last year, the year prior, they were the 5th seed out west.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like my thing is like you got two dominant big men, but who's stopping Jordan? Like who's stopping
Nobody.
Jordan?
He's still going to the
Benny
basket.
Del Negro.
I mean, there was did we name anybody like in history that stopped Jordan?
True.
So
Yeah.
it matters not. I mean, we're never going to get someone to stop Jordan, but do the Bulls or did the Bulls have enough to stop what the Spurs?
I think Phil
so.
finds a way
I think
because we've seen Phil go ahead with Pop with the Lakers. So I think Phil find a way.
I mean, Shaq and his
It will go 7.
freshness
Guaranteed
didn't
it'll go 7.
even do anything. So we forget that Shaq was just fresh out and they contained him like it wasn't nothing. So I think they could have survived it, honestly. And with the lockout, fresher legs a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so I heard Duke mention something earlier where he believed they would have won after '93, the first repeat. So this next question then, if let's say hypothetically Jordan never retires, and let's say I can't say his father never dies, but I was trying to, because like
the team stays intact.
Because it's like
the team stay intact.
Yeah, just the team stay intact. And
oh no, they ain't beating the Rockets.
They went 8 in a row, pretty much.
Oh no,
They're
not beating the Rockets.
They're not beating the Rockets.
I don't think so either because I think
they
like if they had trouble with Karl Malone. Come on, dog.
But I mean, but
the Rockets.
They said they was tied though.
They were
the Rockets
tied.
gave them trouble during the season. I know it's the season and the playoffs are different, but the Rockets gave them trouble in the season. I believe in '93, if I'm not mistaken, the Rockets swept them that season. So the Rockets would have gave them some trouble.
That Rockets team was pretty good.
Rockets swept who?
Mental, and don't forget the mental impact too. Like Jordan. I mean, you could tell even at '98, you could just tell how fatigued. It's hard to win 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
Yeah. 4 in a row since the Celtics back in the '60s.
No,
well, it wasn't that many teams back then, so that's a different story.
Exactly. So my point, it's like, and you saw fatigue on him. It was like Jordan when he had played for a dream team, one last championship. You had to gamble and stuff. Like, I do believe that run would stop right there in '94, but they would have won in '95.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You think they would have lost 1 and 1 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like regardless if they beat the Rockets tonight to win 8 in a row, bro, like that is a lot. That's a physical tear on anybody, bro. I don't care who you are. To play an 82-game season and then to play X amount of games in the playoffs and then to also make the finals every year, like that's a lot. So
if anything, Jordan probably would have retired after like 4 or 5 and then just set his ass down somewhere after that.
All right. Y'all got any questions? Like just anything y'all can shoot out?
I mean, I saw in the group me. I said, I know somebody said that Jordan could play in any era. I mean, Jordan would destroy in this era. Period. Yeah. Like, if y'all made it James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, you don't get a dose of this Michael Jordan. Guard them, man.
I saw something on YouTube. It was a YouTube video I watched. Right, Jordan averaged. I forgot whichever year he averaged 37 points a game.
Yeah.
Only 2% of his shots were threes.
Yeah, he was not shooting threes like that.
Yeah. So you telling me he averaged 37 points a game on 2s, and you tell me this.
In this era, he would learn to shoot threes.
At least 45.
That's second three-peat.
He would learn to shoot threes.
They might did not shoot threes till late in their career, bro.
Yeah.
All to the basket and fadeaways.
Right, because I think one thing that kind of caught my eye throughout this whole thing is I think it was Kendrick Perkins started talking, and he was talking about like how he was comparing. I know it's a little off topic, but he was comparing LeBron's points per game and his stats when I think it was his 3 losses compared to Jordan's stats when like his first 3 wins, and I think those two aren't the same because 31 points per game then is not 31 points per game now. Like 31 points per game then is like 40, 45.
That's almost half your score.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Yeah. Like, so, exactly.
30, I'll tell you that.
That's one thing that kind of caught my eye too. I was just like, you can't compare the same because those are 2 totally different eras.
I was just about to say, you probably saw a handful of times those scores was above 100 in that docuseries.
Yeah.
Handful of times.
Overtime games was over 100 points.
Exactly.
Anytime your playoff game is 96-54. Whole playoff game, 96 points high.
Even the Jazz are good. They were offensively, wouldn't even get scoring 100.
Yeah.
That was hard back to do. It was more physical and more slower play at that time though. It wasn't just running gun like we have today.
Yeah.
So
and everybody wasn't jacking 3-pointers either.
Exactly.
I mean, Steve Kerr was 1 for 4, 0 for 4. Then he hits the last second shot, or last time shot. So, I don't know. Anybody else got a question?
I actually got a troll and I was trying to see if we were doing it before.
Two got one trolling now.
I actually got 2.
When you get one.
Fine, then. You got a total no. You got exactly 1.
All right. So trolling now. I get 1.
Yes.
You want to know
I get 2.
Got time, bro.
Trolling now. Never trust nobody named Jerry.
Hey, facts.
Say what?
Jerry Jones, Jerry Krause,
Jerry
Hiller, Risenhart, whatever that main name was. Everyone. I'm sorry, bro.
Which one? What was the
If
total
you
now?
do my taxes and your name is Jerry, I'm not finna trust you, bro. It's a wrap.
The worst Jerry? Is that what the question is?
No, I said trolling now. Never trust anybody named Jerry.
Nope.
Besides Jerry Rice.
It's not a troll.
I agree. Not true.
I agree.
Six championships.
No, I'm more of a serious
Ain't
note.
no better Terry if you're gonna be like
Really?
On a serious note though, I did ask this in a group me. It's like a lot of people gonna look at this documentary and say that this Bulls dynasty or the 95-96 Bulls was the greatest team of all time. So I guess in my case, trolling out, they're not the greatest team of all time. The 95-96 Bulls.
Who is?
Whoa. Oh.
Come on, dog.
Okay.
The 17 Warriors.
Okay. Don't ask questions. Two. I want you to tell me what was the tagline on that 95-96 Bulls team. What was the tagline?
Don't mean a thing.
What?
Don't mean a thing without the ring.
Don't mean a thing.
Thank you.
Hold on.
No, he's talking about KD.
No, I'm talking. So the 18 Warriors. I'm sorry, the 18 Warriors.
He's talking about the one after the. He's talking about KD first year.
I'm talking about the KD Warriors. The first
He's
year.
talking about the first year of KD. They won 15-1 in the playoffs.
I'm still waiting.
Oh,
Still saying troll.
They're not
okay.
better. They're not even better than the Lakers from 2000, 2001. In my opinion.
If Shaq would have given Draymond that work.
Oh God.
You can't convince me no way he'll stop that.
What was said?
Draymond was not gonna hold Shaq.
Neither was Zaza Pachulia.
Andrew
No,
Bogut.
it was gonna be Zaza.
All right, y'all.
Oh, JaVale
It was
McGee.
nice talking to y'all. It was nice talking to y'all.
As I
The man
said
said Andrew
before.
Bogut.
As I said before.
I want you to go look at Chris Dudley's highlights. I want you to go look at Chris Dudley versus Shaq. When Shaq dunked on him, pushed him down, and Chris Dudley got up and mad. That's all I'm gonna say. Everybody, nice show.
Shaq with an 8. Shaq with an 8, bro. My boy KD with an 8 too. Ain't nobody finna stop Steph. So.
What era are we talking about? That's the real question.
Any era.
Any era.
Because three is
Any
not
era,
42.
bro. If it's back in the past, we would replace Zaza with somebody else, bro.
And
Zaza.
so
End the
Zaza
show,
really tried to hurt someone. Let's get this right. He really tried to hurt Scotty or something.
So Rob would have retaliated.
Hey, which area y'all want to play in?
But this again, someone might try to make Draymond retaliate. You don't know.
The moment KD goes
for basketball,
I'm
I'm not gonna lie to you. Half court basketball for that Warriors team, wash. You can go ahead and count that goodbye. Ain't even happening. Now I can give you a series with the 3-point shot and how much is its effect in the rules that they are in as of now. Now that is a chance. But if you want to go back to anything that has to do with the mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s, the Warriors are dust. Dust.
We've seen that movie before with the Phoenix Suns. We've seen it before. Like, no, it's not gonna happen.
We didn't see nothing with the Phoenix Suns. They were just up and
Exactly.
down, up and
Exactly.
They didn't have one of the greatest scores, two of the greatest scorers of all time on their team.
I've totally lost my interest at that point.
Okay. No. Thanks for the troll, man.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna agree to disagree on this one. Y'all live in a Bulls house. When y'all come back to America, let me know.
All right, man. As a former Bulls fan,
Whoa.
You meant it.
Nah, don't take that former out. This ain't Prince. Take the former out. You know you still a Bulls fan. You know you still keeping up with.
You want to check my collection at your house? I ain't got no bullshit.
Hey man, if it's
no bullshit. I like that. I like that.
Close it out 5 minutes ago. I know.
Yeah, we got it.
We catch y'all next week. We got a special guest coming on. She want to speak more about the guest coming on.
Yeah. So we have a special guest. His name is Austin Oden. He's the creator of Raft Brand. It's a clothing company that's nearly international now that he started on his own. And I'm just a big fan of Black businesses doing business with each other. He's always there to be for us. He's always retweeting for us. He watches the videos. He gives us feedback that I don't even tell y'all. I just try to do better myself. But I really look forward to having him on next week with us. And he's also dropping his new clothing line as well. So I'll see if we can get some discounts coming up.
And he's still a fan.
Hey, all right, in this right now.
And we
Shut it down. Shut it down. Hey, pull the plug. Pull the plug.
Peace.
Stay black.
All right. Should have just listened real about Jerry. Jerry Krause, Jerry Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
If your name ain't Jerry West, I don't trust you if your name's Jerry.
What about Judge Jerry?
I judge Jerry Rice.
Okay, Jerry Rice. Jerry's ice cream. Tom and Jerry.
Jerry Rice.
Let me see. There, he said Jerry Rice. I'm trying to think of some more Jerry. Jerry Springer. That's about it. Can you hear me?
I can't hear y'all. Y'all audio went out.
Yeah.
Like I hear them talking, but I can't tell what they're saying.
Can you hear me, Savage?
I can hear you too.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I
we
can
can
hear
hear
you, Trevor.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't hear them.
Their audio went out, yeah.
I thought it was me. What y'all doing over there?
Over here.
What y'all doing over there?
Skylar
What y'all doing?
Sound about right.
Still can't hear you, bro. Still can't hear you, cuz.
It's over
We
here.
can't hear you. We can't hear you. We gotta record on speakerphone or something. We can't hear y'all. No, I'm putting a group me. I don't think they know it. We can't hear y'all. Hey, guys, check your phones.
Over talking about Jerry's. Yeah, y'all over there in Jerry world. Can't hear
That's
that.
just shitty. That's just shitty. Trying to be in no
Throw up the X. Only X I know is DMX, man. What you talking about? or D-Generation X, bro. Or Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever. It sound like it just looked like Shitty saying something.
Right.
We can't hear y'all.
Can't hear y'all.
We can't hear y'all. Y'all might have to X out and close again, come back again or something.
Yeah.
Thank you. Come again.
One of y'all press the mute button or something.
Yep. Default playing. It's Skylar's fault. Skylar got the I'm in trouble face.
Heck no, it was shitty, bro. As soon as we started talking about Jerry, that's when it started happening. That's when it started. So we're talking about Jerry. Get out your feelings, cuz.
Wow.
Get out your feelings, cuz. We can't hear y'all, cuz.
We still can't hear you.
Y'all better do a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
We Ludacris, they Nelly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel you.
Come on, St. Louis Wi-Fi.